Hi, this is Christian Buckley, the founder and CEO of Collab Talk, and I'm here with Microsoft's Bill Baer talking about some of the top concerns in hybrid and around SharePoint.
It's great to be
And
back.
so, Bill, one of the questions that comes up, and this actually probably the strongest feedback from even the MVP community with Office 365 as it came online and developed was the lack of control over branding and other customizations inside of SharePoint. And I know there's reasons for that in the cloud, and there was an immediate response with a lot of customers that had tied a lot of their corporate identity, into that branding, and it's important to their collaboration environments internally, and how hybrid can help solve some of those concerns. Maybe you could just talk to I know you hear this question a lot, so how do you answer that, respond to clients who are concerned that they're going to lose control of what they can go and do with SharePoint?
Yeah, and one of the biggest points of contention when you talk to people about Office 365 is their investment in customization, particularly for the mature SharePoint on-premises customer, somebody who's been on the journey with us for a long time, because they embraced SharePoint largely as a product of its ability to be customized, the extensibility.
The Swiss Army knife model of that's what SharePoint was for many years. Yep.
Yeah, and the challenge becomes there's a number of different challenges that come along with extensibility. Is one, for many customers, they solicited a vendor who may no longer exist. So the vendor built a full trust solution, supplied it to the customer, and the customer doesn't have an alternative because that vendor either no longer exists, doesn't offer similar capability within Office 365, or it may have been a private developer. And in many cases, it may be that they don't have access to source, so they don't have any way to transform these customizations. Now, we have a number of great partners in this space who can help facilitate some of that. But in the hybrid space, that's where the opportunity exists. If you're approaching Office 365 as a wholesale migration scenario, customization is something that you need to be definitely concerned about. And how do you bring those or transform those or leverage new customization in the face of moving to the cloud? However, that's the opportunity that hybrid provides you, which is the ability to continue to leverage and implement those customizations while simultaneously taking advantage of Office 365.
Bill, one side of this, just different perspective in that too. It's not whether IT team or whoever owns that decision. Hey, we're moving over to Office 365, and we're going to go. We understand the reasons for moving away from all those customizations. That we want this to be more supportable. There might be performance issues, things, all those kinds of reasons to consider moving away from some of those things. Mm-hmm. But the other issue is just that especially if you're in a large enterprise, is what people are used to, and having a logical transition to that new world, you might lose a lot of people and a lot of productivity along the way if it's a dramatically different experience, and even with the look and feel can have a dramatic effect on that. And so you have that's another reason to consider maybe a hybrid as a transition step towards going fully to the cloud. Even though the other organizations might say, hey, look, on an ongoing basis, we need to be able to do these things in this way, or else we cannot move fully to the cloud. And so hybrid is the end point, not a transition.
Mm-hmm. And we're definitely doing work to create more harmony in the customization space, particularly our recent investments in the SharePoint framework. Now, at the surface, that seems applicable only to Office 365, but just recently we announced that our investments in the framework will also be coming to our on-premises customers of SharePoint 2016. So the opportunity provided therein is the ability to build once and deploy anywhere effectively, because then you can start to transform those solutions and use them across both on-premises SharePoint as well as Office 365. And for those customers who aren't on SharePoint 2016, it's really an opportunity to look at what you have and then determine whether or not the app model is capable of providing like capability in respect to your existing full trust or partial trust solutions. And in that case, you really want to start thinking about, how do I build in a client-side way? So when I do bring those solutions to Office 365, there's less friction involved in getting them there because they're already built in a cloud-capable way.
Right. And one of the I think great recommendations, and I know more on the migration discussion, but it's still the pre-migration analysis of doing these kind of environmental analysis to understand what you have, who's actually using these sites, because that's always an interesting discussion where you have, we must have these team sites, and you look at the actual activity on those sites and find that it's much less important, site or site collection than the overeager, owner of those sites might describe. Anyway, the politics of prioritizing what's moved and how it's moved and when. But knowing what you have and knowing to the degree to which they're customized and having an assessment of even what it will take to move over to the cloud might determine some of your strategy for hybrid. And so move the things that have been fairly out of the box or light, customizations, light branding might be a good fit to move first, and it might be this staged process where other parts of your environment may take longer. So having the information about what's there, what the customizations are, other third-party tools and integrations, custom dev that you've done on that will help inform those decisions.
Yeah, and to that extent, since you did bring up the topic of largely assessing your environment, there's a great set of tools that you can already use that exist today that you can take advantage of. There's obviously those that are provided by some of our great partners in order to perform those assessments. Another thing you may want to look at is if you simply search for the SharePoint Migration Assessment Tool, or SMAT. Yep. That tool in itself is delivered by Microsoft. It's used by our Fast Track organization, and it can help perform some basic evaluation of your environment and some remediation guidance as well. So there's definitely an opportunity to leverage existing tooling in order to help automate some of that assessment so it doesn't become a laborious process or a laborious process.
Yes. So, thanks. I mean, that's great guidance, and I'm, definitely for those that are watching the video that, not on the site in the associated blog post, I'll provide some of those resources, but that's a great tool to be including. You'll be able to scroll down, see it in the additional resources on the article. But Bill, thanks a lot for your time to talk about this topic, and see you at the next one.
See ya.